Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever Adams TV blog podcast. Well, actually, it's just Adams TV podcast. Today, we're going to be doing a short talk, just an introduction piece, just me and my co-host. We're going to be talking about our top 10 favorite performances from American Idol. And today, my co-host is the incredible Eric Asher. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing well. Hello, everybody watching. I am super excited to go over my top 10 performances. I feel like this is going to be a great way for people to figure out like our tastes before we start the real show live streams in less than 2 weeks, which is crazy, but it's crazy it's all already on its way back.
I know. Can you believe it?
Nope, I
All right,
cannot.
so just give me a second because I'm tweeting the link so that people can watch us. There might be some technical difficulties. This is our first time ever doing this.
I see it. I'm going to retweet it too, and we are good.
We are good. All right.
Okay.
Let's see. Are we good? All right. So let's just talk a little bit, go back and forth. So here's how this is going to work. I am going to talk about a performance that is in my top 10. We're going to go back and forth, see how that goes. And I'll kick it off. We're going to start with my favorite. Number 10 is James Durbin doing Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow? This was from season 10, and it was in the top 5, and I thought it was an absolutely incredible performance. What did you think?
I think it's higher up on my list, so I'll get to it later.
Whoa, it's higher up? So what did you think about James Durbin's run on American Idol?
I think it ended about 2 weeks too early. I loved him on the show. He was great. He was the first contestant to really the first contestant to have all the production around him, all the showmanship, and he's doing well now, winning Quiet Riot, so I'm happy for him. And I think he has a great voice, so I'm happy that you put him in number 10. I put him way higher, so we'll get to that later.
I should just put this out there that I've actually only watched from season 9 onwards. So
and me from season 7 onwards. So
anything
no
beyond that,
no Kelly Clarkson on my list. Sorry, everybody.
Unfortunately, that's not going to be for this podcast. Maybe in the future. I was actually rewatching season 1, and it was just really, there were only like 5 good contestants, and everyone else kind of really, really sucked.
Well, better than season 9, so which I'll get to later on my list. So yeah, my number 10, if you're done talking about James, because we'll have more to talk about him later. My number 10 is actually kind of cheating a bit because it's not really an individual performance. It's Jessica Sanchez and Jennifer Holliday together. On the finale back in season 11, singing And I Am Telling You. Philip has gone on to basically be the most successful contestant from that year, but Jessica had the best performance of the season in my view with that night. It's Philip Phillips kind of was sick the entire time he was on Idol, so it's kind of unfair, but Jennifer's faces in that performance were just so spectacularly funny. But Jessica actually sounded so good that I wasn't focused on Jennifer's faces. So
it's funny. I actually had that on my list, but I took it off because I didn't think we were doing duets, but that would have been my number 10.
What? That's the only one on my list. So
there's one more duet on my list, but it's not a celebrity duet.
I think I know where that might be going, but we'll see.
Do you want to start with the next one? You want to go straight into number 9?
Might as well go back and forth.
Okay. So the next one for me is Siobhan Magnus, American Idol 9, Paint It Black. What did you think of that one? I thought, well, you go first. What did you think?
Well, it's the only one of hers that I even remotely remember. I did like her. I did like that performance actually a lot. It wasn't on my list because I feel like I tried to pick one performance per contestant on my list at most. I also tried to pick the contestants that I think were most memorable overall. And I think that Siobhan was great, but she didn't last terribly long. And that performance was great, but she didn't have I don't think any ever good performances besides that one. So,
okay. It was my first season. I started with season 9, And that was, for me, it's more a little bit sentimental because when I saw that
I have a
performance, that
couple
was
of those on
like,
my list too. So
what?
I
What?
have a couple of the sentimental type ones on my list too.
Yeah, that
So it's
was,
okay.
it was one of the first live shows I watched, and that was like amazing to me. And that was what
It
got me
was a
into it.
showstopper for that night. I do remember that much.
Okay,
Um,
so you want to go ahead?
okay. I'm gonna do my number 9, which I'm assuming is gonna be way higher on your list. Gina Irene Creep.
Not on my list.
Really?
Uh, one, I picked one song per contestant. It would have been, but I wanted
Okay,
one from what?
Huh, okay. Well, I know for a fact that this is the only song Gina still likes to perform live, from her
Does
Idol
she?
days. And if she only wants to cover one song, I think this is the right one to choose. Many would say that this would be the best performance of season 13, and I think they can make a legitimate argument for that. Um, I think that it was really well executed. The build of the song was good. I liked the performance, I liked the staging, I liked her vocals were great on it. So that's my number 9.
I actually absolutely love that performance, and it would have been on my list. There was one
One
performance
per.
of hers that I liked a little bit more, and I only wanted to do one per contestant.
Okay.
So otherwise, it would have been on my list. So next, it's my turn, right?
Yes.
All right. So number 8. I don't know if you're gonna agree with me on this one. It's Serena Joy Crow singing "Mama Knows Best" by Jessie J. This performance is not the best, but it's just for me, it's the culmination of the journey of Serena Joy Crow. This girl was on so many seasons and she was cut every single time. And finally, she was on the stage and finally she got to give one big performance.
And
And it
then
was
she
like,
got cut.
not yet. She gave this huge performance and it was like, I just
Yeah,
remember
she was
watching it
robbed.
live and it was just such a moment because it was so many years of this poor girl trying so hard to get on. And finally she has her moment. And I thought it was absolutely incredible. What did you think of the performance?
Well, I like Serena a lot. I think she got robbed. She show off like many weeks longer than she lasted. And I will also say that I'm a fan of contestants who keep coming back. I like Candace, like Caleb. I know you have some thoughts about Caleb, but we'll get to those next.
Oh, we're going to have some talks.
But I also like it's really good that at least Idol gives people a shot occasionally if they keep coming back. Like X Factor in the UK, my favorite show. Like brings people back and then just keeps cutting them over and over and over again, like at the same place. And it becomes really excruciating. And they finally stopped doing that the past 2 seasons. So yeah, I don't think it's right to mess with people and bring them back only to cut them in the exact same spot every single year. So I'm happy that Serena got at least some voting rounds.
I thought she was a robbed goddess, as they say.
I would totally agree.
Anyway, go ahead.
My number 8. Speaking of Caleb, my number 8 is Caleb Skyfall.
Ooh.
When I wrote this list on MJ's blog about 2 years ago, I had Dazed and Confused for Caleb instead. But I think Skyfall, upon further reflection, was more of a risk, was a better performance. And the reason I'm putting this one on the list is because I want people who usually take it safe and usually stick to the same thing, I want them to be able to take risks on Idol 2.0 when it comes back in 2 weeks. I think the ability to take risks is very important, and I think that hopefully people can learn from this Caleb performance and not some of the other ones that I didn't like as much.
I have a lot of thoughts on Caleb. A lot of thoughts. There's just one performance that I keep going back to. It was when he did Dream On. And this is nothing against him, but he's doing the Dream On and that song, it like builds up to this one high note.
And he hit it.
You know what I'm talking about, do you?
Yeah.
And he hit it, but as he's hitting it, the camera goes right to Jennifer Lopez and you don't even see him performing the note. And it's just like, but that's nothing against him.
That's against the production. That's not against him. Yeah, that one was his best vocal performance of the season, but Skyfall was the best performance of the season.
I disagree with you on it being the best vocal performance.
His best.
We'll get to that. But for me, Caleb, his best performance was Dazed and Confused, just because I wasn't a fan of his, but that was kind of kind of nuts of a performance. It was absolutely incredible.
I thought it was
And
great, but I think Skyfall was more impressive because of the arrangement, because you wouldn't think it would go with him, but it did.
when I,
So,
go on, I'm sorry.
but yeah, that's my thoughts on Caleb. Ready to move on.
Just because we were talking about Caleb, I really loved when he did that with Sonica in the recent season.
And that's another reason why I liked it. Well, why I like that song, because it's the one he chose to redo, and he picked the right one, and he actually brought something out of her that she only ever performed twice, as far as I'm concerned. She only actually looked like she was actually invested twice for the entire season.
What was the other one?
Bring Me to Life.
Oh, I had such high hopes for her. Like I remember
Oh, I did too. And then
when I was writing for MJ's, I like had this whole like I had these whole lists of like what she should do, and I just saw her as such a like she could have been so good, and she just
but she looked so wooden on stage, and that was her problem.
she looked absolutely terrified every single second she was on stage.
It looked like she like wandered onto the stage and everyone's trying to light on her. She was like a deer caught in the headlights. It was pretty bad. But anyway, your number 7?
My number 7. All right. I'm pretty sure this one's going to be on your list. I mean, hopefully, because it's such a good performance. It's Elise Testone singing Whole Lotta Love by Led Zeppelin.
Not on my list.
It's not on your list.
No.
I thought that was the best performance of the best season I've watched.
You see, I like Elise. I didn't really watch her season that closely, to be totally honest. But yeah, that performance was good. But my problem with it is that Adam did it. Adam Lambert did it. And if you're going to do a song with someone's already done the show, you have to either do it a completely different way or you have to do it totally better. And she didn't do it either. So
I disagree, but what's yours? What's your number 7?
This is my sentimental one, Nick Fradiani, Beautiful Life. It's not considered to be Nick's best performance in season 14 because it's not from most standards. But it was the first time Nick showed the potential that I thought he had from the Beach Avenue days on America's Got Talent when I live blogged his audition. And Beautiful Life, in my view, is the best coronation song that Idol's ever had. I think it's better than Home. I think it's better than any of them. And it didn't do so great. It's going to be okay. And I'm just hoping that on Idol 2.0 we get more songs like that and nothing like No Boundaries ever again.
I don't know. Nick I didn't watch that.
Lucky you. And to be fair, Nick also put more energy into Beautiful Life than I think basically any other performance of the season. The fist pumps is what won him the show. It's the common knowledge of it. So
I'm still shocked he beat Clark. Even now, I thought Clark had that going in. It was done. He won. I thought there was no way that he was beating Clark.
I was so shocked, but I was really happy that I was shocked. So
when I was watching, I was just like, "Oh my god, this is insane!" Because he was one of my top 2 favorite contestants that season.
Yep. And then you won, and then your second favorite got shunned.
It's actually my favorite contestant ever from the show.
Okay.
Just me personally. But so yeah, that was mine. You want to go next? Oh no, wait,
that was mine. You're number 6 now.
Okay, number 6. It's a pretty good performance. It's one of my favorites. It's Haley Reinhart singing Benny and the Jets. And I just this thing, I don't know what this was, but she was doing it a lot and it was amazing. If I
had to pick a number 11, that would be the performance. That would be my number 11. Barely doesn't make the list. And that's because I think that I love Haley. I've seen her live. She's phenomenal. Her band is amazing. If you want to see a great show, go see Haley. But yeah, I don't know why it wasn't on my list, honestly. But I just don't know what I would replace with it. Yeah, I love that performance. Haley was amazing on the show.
The funny thing is, I actually don't think it was her best vocal performance on the show.
I think that goes to Halo of Nothing.
Oh no, I was going to say House of the Rising Sun.
Yeah, both of those were the 2 best.
I mean, like with House of the Rising Sun, it was just
the acapella start was amazing, definitely. But
I also really liked I Who Have Nothing because it was at a moment when she was being so beaten down by the judges, and she came back
That
with
wasn't
that.
just one moment. That was the entire freaking
That was her
season.
entire run, basically. Her run was phenomenal for
Oh,
like the
totally.
entire show. I was convinced.
By far the best growth of any contestant from week 1 to the ending that I've ever
She,
seen.
if I remember correctly, she started out with Fallen, which I was like, this is like a fodder performance.
Everyone thought that she was going to be gone week 2 or 3, and then she kept getting better. And it's very rare that you see a growth arc like she had.
And
So.
she did it. I mean, of all the contestants that I've been just amazed by, she did so good. And she was robbed. I mean, come on.
Oh, of course.
I mean,
the two artists you will not see on my list are Scotty and Lauren. So
I don't think they were that bad, Scotty and Lauren. I mean, season 10 for me.
Lauren was pretty great. Scotty, I'm not a country person. So
was that your favorite season?
Season 10?
Yeah.
Oh heck no, that was season 8.
Season 8.
Most of season 8.
Really? Because
I think that I like Chris, I like Adam, I like Allison. I think the order of them finishing was wrong, but I think those 3 contestants make the best 3 contestants of any seasons, in my view.
I would actually I don't know about you, but I would say my favorite was season 11. I think
season 11 was great. Don't get me wrong.
I think from the top 7, I would have been okay with any of the winners winning. I thought they were all
winning. Yeah.
What?
Any of them winning. Yeah, that was a good year. But there was a deep bench of talent, which is what I'm hoping we get on Idol. So am I number 6 now?
Yeah, you want to go?
Sure. Well, your phone rings a bit, I think. My number 6 was Allison Iraheta Alone. Allison still has an amazing voice. That simple. Plug time. Her new band Halo Circus is great. Not a fan of her newest single personally, but the rest of the album is going to be a lot better, I'm assuming. You should definitely check out the debut album. Bunny, I think it was really underrated. Deserved to do a lot better than it did. She's just great. But back to performance. She was barely shown at all up until this week on Idol when she did Alone. And this basically was what put her in the top 13, which was good because she deserved to be there. I didn't actually, as I said earlier, I didn't watch Carrie Underwood's season, and I watched her back singing this song Alone. And I'm not sure which version I like better, and that's saying something, because that's Carrie Underwood's signature performance. So
I actually have watched Allison. I've watched that YouTube video, and she's really good. I love that performance and when she did Crybaby.
Crybaby was the other one that was in contention for her on this list. That goodbye performance was bad.
She came in 3rd.
Bad in a good way. I mean, yeah, she came in 3rd place. Let's face facts. Danny Goki was 4th.
And you were watching that season live, right?
Yes, I was.
So, what was like the reaction to her back then? Because
Simon didn't love her. I mean, and the whole season. That season, everyone was building up. Oh, it's me, Danny versus Adam in the finale. Thank God it wasn't. I still think Adam deserved to win wholeheartedly that season, but Chris is good. Chris is not bad. It's just that it's hard to compare anybody to Adam.
I feel like I've heard a lot more of Adam songs recently. Like I haven't Chris Allen. Like I don't hear his music except like when I'm in department stores and I hear like some of his old songs. What's the one? The Power of Love or something like that. I don't remember what it goes, but that was a good one. I don't even.
Yeah, I will say that Adam is now the lead singer of Queen, so that's basically the biggest gig you can get.
I guess you kind of won there.
It didn't hurt his career at all. And so your number 5?
All right, so my number 5 is a duet. Not many of them,
Haley
but
and Casey?
This is the only one. You got a guess? You know what it is?
Haley and Casey?
No.
Huh.
It's actually Lee DeWise and Crystal Bowersox doing Falling Slowly, which was an incredible performance in my opinion. It was the favorite of mine from that season. I think I said Painted Black was, but it was actually this duet because I love the two of them. And
See, I liked that performance, but I have a different pick for my Crystal performance, and it's coming up. And I think that there is. I'll get to it next. Spoiler alert.
what did you think of Leader Wise? Are you a fan of his?
Not really. I mean, I've seen him
No?
live. He's okay. I mean, he's good, but Crystal so deserved to win that season.
I remember rooting for Lee. I was like a kid. It was
I
so
was
long
too,
ago.
but I still rooted for Crystal because it was the talent levels were just like this, and it's whatever. What are you gonna do? My number 5 is actually your number 10. James Durbin will used to love me tomorrow. So there it is.
I liked it more. That means.
No, that's not what that means. That means that I liked it more based on.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Well, I liked it first, kind of.
And so, my thoughts on this one is Randy said James could win after this performance, and that's why I think he finished 4th place because Randy said he could win, and that was the kiss of death. As we know, James was known for mostly for his showmanship and his production stuff around him, but this performance was the best one because it proved that he could just flat out sing and just play the guitar, sing the song, and do a good job with it. So.
I'm still a little sad he lost.
Me too. Me too.
I mean, what are you gonna
Okay.
do? So we're going into the top 3.
Top 4.
Oh, top 4. Oh, well,
What's your number 4?
my number 4 you actually said already. It was Nick Fradiani doing Beautiful Life.
Huh. So what's your favorite Nick performance as well?
It was my favorite Nick performance. I didn't, for a winner, like I didn't have that many favorite performances of his. Like I thought his run wasn't, it was like very this the entire time. Like it didn't really have many peaks.
Here's the weird thing about it. I think that, well, first of all, definitely listen to Nick's new EP, listen to his album, all the Beach Avenue albums. If you want to see what Nick is capable of, his new EP is the best demonstrator of that, and the Beach Avenue stuff. I think his major label debut album didn't show him off as good as it could have. Nick's strength lies in his ability to write a catchy hook and to write a great song and perform it well. And Beautiful Life, as I said earlier, basically was as close as we got to a Beach Avenue style performance on Idol. So,
did he write that song?
No, but it sounds like he could have.
It sounds like a Beach Avenue song.
It does, and that's why it was so great. Because they wrote it. I mean, it was written by the guy who wrote Dashboard Confessional. And it clearly sounds like a song that Nick could have written for himself. And that's why it was so good.
Okay.
That's your number 4. My number 4 is Crystal Bauer Socks Up to the Mountain.
Crystal Bauer Socks Up to the Mountain.
I think, in my view, it was the only real moment of the entire season 9. And it came naturally as the very last performance of the damn thing. Crystal sat there with her acoustic guitar backed by a small choir and sang with more emotion and passion than basically anyone had the entirety of the season. And I'm seeing her actually live next month, and I would really wish she would play this one live instead of Bobby McGee, which is what she does have on our set list usually. I just think this performance was in a different league to everything else of that season.
I don't remember loving that performance. It's weird. There are like some things from that season that I just remember and some I just don't. But I mean, it was probably pretty good.
Watch it again. It was by far the best performance of the season, in my view. But
I actually think I saw it live because I went to the live tour, and I think she did it live there.
I don't think she did. She might have. Who knows? She should have. If she didn't, that was a mistake because it was her best performance. You're number 3. Now we're in the top 3.
Now we're going into top 3, and I have a very good feeling that you are going to disagree with every single one of them because they're not the best performances. They're not the best.
They're your favorites. Go ahead.
These are just performances that I remember so many years later. These are the ones that they stuck with me. It's more so the people singing them than the actual performances.
Go ahead.
So I'm wholeheartedly ready for you to
Where's Jack, where's Gina, and where's who's the third?
Well, it's my trifecta. It's number 3 is Holly Kavanagh doing The Climb because that was the first audition episode I ever watched was when she did that. She started crying during her performance, and she did make it, and she made it. And I remember watching it. It was the first audition I watched, and I was like, this is my girl. Like, I'm gonna watch her, and I'm gonna watch this season from her eyes. And then in the end, we know she got cut right at the
Top
top
4.
24. But then,
Oh, you're talking about season 10. Oh, okay.
oh yeah, no, the next one.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm talking about in season 11.
No, season 11, she made it to top 4. Season 10, she got.
No, I'm getting there.
I got it.
So
I
then,
understand.
so then I remember when season 11 was coming around and they were announcing. I remember the website was AmericanIdol.net. It was the first, like, my first step into the online American Idol world. And they posted an article where it was all the spoilers. And I looked and I saw her like in the top 48. And I was like, oh,
she's back.
She's back. And then she came back and she did Reflection. And I was like, all in. Number one, girl, I'm rooting for you. I don't care if you don't do the best. I'm going to pull for you. You're going to make it all the way to the end. I'm on your team. And then her run was really interesting. It started out she was always like, I always saw that they were viewing her as number 2 to Jessica. She was kind of just like a
number 2 girl, Jessica, not number 2 overall.
And then she started out really well. There was like a really good part where I thought she was going to finally like overtake Jessica. Like in the top 12, she did Power of Love and All the Man That I Need by Whitney Houston. And I was like, this is it. She could actually win. And then, she kind of hit that bumpy road, and it just kind of started getting worse and worse. And I remember every episode coming home, like getting ready to watch the episode, like, all right, this is it. This is when she's going to go home. And she just kept surviving. And then she hit that stride in, I think it was top 7, where she did I think it was Rolling in the Deep. Was it?
I think that was a good one. I don't really remember as much, but.
And then she eventually went to The Climb, and it was like, she's back. And it brought me back to that first performance when she did that, and she started crying, and now she's doing it on the stage, and it was a moment for me. But what do you think? Do you think it was a good performance?
I don't remember it at all. Sorry.
Are you a fan of Holly's?
I liked her. I thought she had a good voice.
Okay.
That's all I'll say. I did like her a lot. I did like her. She had a good voice.
I was so into it. That was like my first like being on a fandom. Like when I remember it was when I was just getting into Twitter, like she was the first person that I was like supporting. So it just has a spot right here for me, like just remembering it. But go on. Your turn. Okay.
My number 3, my top 3 are more like conventional picks. I think.
Yeah, go on.
Number 3 is Candace Glover, Love Song.
Yeah. The devil joined us for that performance.
Yes, he did. Whoever it was. Some guy pulled the microphone down. That was freaky. But Randy said it was the best performance in the first 12 seasons of Idol. And unlike Randy, he was actually kind of right. It wasn't my favorite, but it was pretty damn close. Phrasing and the runs and the whole performance, how simple it was exquisite. It was really well done. And
I have a lot of thoughts on season 12. It's actually my least favorite season.
Who doesn't have a lot of thoughts on season 12? I think the manipulation that season was messed it up. I think the judges were horrible, Mariah particularly.
I didn't think Nikki was that bad for all the
flack.
I don't think it was her.
It was Mariah. It was
all Mariah. Nikki was like, I've been watching back old like drama videos just for the fun of it. And I was like, this is all Mariah's fault. Like everything she's doing.
Everything is Mariah's fault.
She's the one like stirring the pot. And the contestants that season were just absolutely awful. I mean,
I'd say the top 5 girls were good, but all the guys were bad.
I couldn't stand Amber.
I was almost thinking of like before we say my number 1, I was almost thinking like my number 1 is Lazaro Arbos close to you. Just to see your face when I said that.
I think
but I decided against it.
The reason I have such negative views of that season is because I remember the build up to the actual season, and that was when I was.
A lot of great guys. There were a lot of great guys.
No, not that.
Not all of them.
It was because like they were leaking the spoilers that were who made it to Hollywood, and there was like Skylar Dixon, and there was Shelby Tweet, and there was Ariel Sprague, all these big names from season 11, which I thought was just the best season of the entire show, in my opinion, from what I've seen.
None of them made it.
And to see none of them make it, and I was just like, there was previews of like Skylar Dixon there, and I was like, oh my God, this is like her shot. Like I was totally ready to root for her, and none of them made it. The only one who made it was Candace and Janelle. But like
Candace won the whole thing, so
yeah, I remember having like a list, and just it was like so deflating to see like all of them like on the cut list because Candace, like I was before the season started, she was like maybe my number 5 pick, and number 1, 2, 3, and 4 were all gone. So everyone I was rooting for is just never.
Yeah,
we'll never know
season
what happened.
was a cluster F.
That season.
You're number 2.
All right. I don't think this is that controversial, but
Gina?
It's not Gina. It's actually Jax. It's Jax doing White Flag by Dido. I've been a huge Jax fan for forever. I remember spoiling her name on MJ's because she was someone that I don't really know how to say it. It was I felt like I found her. Like I found her name on the American Idol. Like I managed to break the news of that she was going to be on the show, and there was nothing about her. And just slowly more news came out. And I remember I actually reached out to her, and I was talking to her before the season started, and I suggested her fan base name, and she actually used the fan base name that I suggested. And she even said it on the live show. And it was like, it was a moment for me.
Yep.
What do you think about Jax?
I liked her a lot. She deserved to make the top 2 of her season.
Who would have been cut if she made the top 2?
Clark.
Really?
Yeah. Nick and Jax were my 2 favorites that year.
Me too. I was really pulling for Jax. I went to her homecoming when she was in the top 3. I was there. I have videos.
I remember.
That was such a great moment. But your turn. Go on. What was your number 2?
Okay, so my number 1 and my number 2, first of all, were extremely close. But I spoiled that someone would be number 1. So I'll say number 2 is Adam Lambert, Mad World. Which was, in my view, the last true water cooler moment on Idol. The last moment where people would actually, like, everyone was talking about a performance from the show the next day. The performance was so great, actually, no one even thought of who DVR'd the show because it got cut off. And it still became known as Adam's best performance, despite the fact that anyone who didn't watch it live had to go out of their way to YouTube to find it. And Simon stands for all sorts of crap on X Factor, but this is the only time I ever remember him standing up for after a contestant's performance. I just love the simplicity of it, the vocal technique, the last falsetto at the end was so that was a perfect, it's as close to a perfect performance as I think I've ever seen. Was Adam's Mad World the first one?
I agree. I've actually watched that show, but I was only, for my list, I was only including the list that I watched live. But what I wanted to ask you, what do you think about standing ovations on these shows?
Rarely. I don't think I think when Randy and the judges of season 12 stood up for absolutely everything, and season 11, like Joshua Bodette standing ovations got a little bit ridiculous. I think you can stand up occasionally if something's like a true moment, stand up for it. Other than that, don't.
I just remember there was a moment in season 11. There was a guy, I think his name was Aaron, and he did a performance in the top 24, and they gave him a standing ovation, and he was cut.
Yeah, because they handed them out like participation trophies.
Everyone, if you just do like an incredible note, like they're guaranteed to be standing for you, and I just think it's a little.
It's more than a bit ridiculous.
In my opinion, I would say 2 a season. Every judge, you're allowed 2 a season, 2 standing ovations, and that's it.
I'd say 2 or 3 a season, and I'd say only that because if people only do 2 a season, they might not stand for something that might consider.
I feel because if a judge,
so then reserve it for something later.
I feel like if a judge stands, it's kind of like they're saying you win, you're the best, and I just feel like it shouldn't. it shouldn't be that way. Every judge, I feel like they should be very not like blank face, but like very like fair. Because I feel
I
when you
think like
stand
you
for
should
others,
applaud for a performance, but you shouldn't go like ape shit over any performance. Like that's my. I wrote a blog recently that's on thoughts.ericasher.com plug. Um, and it was about my problems with the voice. And the problem with the voice, one of them was spoiler alert, is that all the judges blow smoke up every contestant's butt, and I don't like that. I like when the judges are honest with the contestants and don't just say, "Oh, everyone's amazing, everyone's great." We can tell what's great. We Your job is to judge and give actionable feedback that can actually help them become great. So
yeah, I feel like I'm just not a fan of standing ovations. Whenever they do, that's the one thing I liked about Harry Connick Jr. Except that he didn't stand for one performance, which we
number
will be
one.
talking about in a second.
Okay, go ahead. Talk about Can't Help Falling in Love.
You know what it is? It's Gina Irene. Can't Help Falling in Love. Best performance of the show I've watched. I mean, oh my God, her run on American Idol, from cut to wild card to bottom three to like the top two. This was my favorite performance of hers.
It was a roller coaster.
And you didn't put it on your list.
Well, I put another one on my list.
Well, I don't know.
I thought that was a great performance too. It was definitely the second best one she did.
The second. What was the third?
Third best of hers? I think My Body was pretty good too.
Oh, I remember that. That was a great song. When she did it with, what was her name? No, there was another one she did, the Paramore song.
Oh, no. G-Code was definitely better than My Body. Yes, that's what I just said.
She had an incredible run. Like every song she did.
I wouldn't say every song, but I'd say the vast majority were pretty damn great.
I mean, she started with Paint It Black in the live shows. Cut did her original song. Then did
Unbreakable was great, yeah.
Unbreakable. Do you think she should have beat Caleb?
No.
I think she should beat Caleb.
I know you think that, and I will say I like both of them a lot, and I think it was super close between the two of them for me. I would have been totally happy with either of them winning.
For some reason, like I can't. Whenever I hear that Caleb won, I'm just reminded of his performance in season 11 when he forgot the words.
See, I didn't watch that performance, so I don't know.
He was in Vegas and he like forgot the words and he's like, "Can I get a drink of water?" or like something, and it was like just kind of making fun of him. And then I don't know, it's like a little weird to know that guy ended up winning, but he was a good one.
Season 13 was kind of awkward in general. Randy was still the mentor. I cracked myself up there. Randy was a mentor.
It's your turn.
Okay, my number one, David Cook, Billie Jean.
Yep.
And it's pretty simple. It's the performance that changed the game. Before Billie Jean Idol was a singing competition. After it was an arrangement and artistry competition. It's genuinely that simple. After that performance, David was not only going to win by 12 million votes, but future contestants would have to basically do something like that, flip a song on its head, and prove that they can be unique with this cover. And what else is there to be said of the performance? It was just perfect. I mean, the vocals were amazing. The presence he had on the song was amazing. I know he gave credit to the arrangement. He was very courteous about, I'm so sad that Chris Cornell was responsible for the arrangement. Now he's gone. But, and yeah, wow. It was just, for me, the best performance I've ever seen on Idol.
I actually, go on. I'm sorry.
And the other reason, and I think, again, because it wasn't necessarily the best vocal. That I think goes to Adam Matterhold. But I think in terms of impact on the show, I think Billie Jean is number one.
Okay. I actually really like that American Idol has kind of taken a bit of it's changed a bit. It used to be about singing, and now it's kind of about
exclusively singing. Kelly and Carrie were all those people were judged based on how long can you hit a note for.
Yeah, it makes it more now, I feel, of a competition. Not a competition. I mean, like, the competition was like narrow, and now there's so much more to it. Now you have to before I feel people were just doing covers, and now it's you have to do something different. And for me, that makes it so much more fun and makes it so much more fun to speculate because it adds a whole nother layer to the game of people where you need this level of creativity because you're not just doing something that was done before, you're doing something that was totally different. And
speaking of which, let's definitely, hopefully we don't get too many repeat performances. I think any songs on these lists, on both our lists, should be banned from the show, personally. I think that if someone's done a song a certain way and done it so well, no one else should attempt it.
What songs? Just the ones on our list? Even mine? Even the ones I said?
Yeah. Honestly, I think that there are enough songs out there in the world that you can find, but people should be able to find new things to cover.
Before we go, I just want to ask, do you have any honorable mentions?
Well, Haley Reinhart was the honorable mention. I thought she would be in my number 11, and she was. Yeah, that's basically the only real ones. I mean, I could say Philip Phillips' Home. I think, besides Beautiful Life, that was the second best winning single. And I know I said only one artist, but I could say a couple other David Cook performances I like too. I'd say not Magic Rainbow. That one was bad. And if anyone doesn't get that joke, please look it up. I would say Always Be My Baby was good. I think Hello was obviously amazing. And The World I Know was one of my personal favorites.
Okay. Any final thoughts about our list? Any last things you want to share?
Your top two is so predictable. Just kidding. Kinda.
Kinda? Yeah. I could have said the same for you.
Well, mine was predictable because
it was the top two on
a blog.
What was What Not to Sing also.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Well, that would make sense because they're the right top two. Yeah. Anywho.
So, for those who've joined us, I want to say thank you so much for keeping up with the podcast. We're going to be doing another one next week. It's going to be about. There's actually a few ideas we're floating around. The one that we're thinking about doing is going to be words of advice to the contestants coming up for people who are going to be on the show in the top 24 about what to consider with performing. We're going to be touching on all of that. And that's actually all I have to say. Anything you want to add, Eric?
Not much. I'm really going to look forward to watching the season with you and everyone else. And fingers crossed that Katy Perry and Lionel and Luke Bryan don't ruin it. I'm cautiously optimistic for this reboot. So
go on.
So obviously you can follow me on Twitter at EricLawTweets and my blog thoughts.ericasher.com. And Adam? I was
about to say if you have any questions, if you want to follow us, you could follow me. I'm Adam Soapbox at Adam Soapbox on Twitter. You just
Eric
said it.
Tweets, yes. I'll say it again.
If you have any topics you want us to talk about on this podcast, you could tweet them to us.
Or you can put them in the comments. I think there's comments section.
You can click on the comments here. You can tweet them to us. We'll check both. We'll be back next week. When the show starts coming on, we'll be live after the show to recap, go through the performances, say what we like, what we didn't like. We're going to go through everything. And thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Eric, anything you want to say?
Peace out.
All right. Peace out. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.